Hello, and welcome to this Excel walkthrough of how to take data that is depicted in a normal bar graph and depict it in what we know as a mirror bar graph or a mirror histogram. Now, if you'll notice here, this student has already tallied up all their data. This is the total here. And you'll see that we have 19 respondents in all. Now, there's more than one way to do this. It depends on how you want to convey which values are negative and which values are positive. Now, if you'll see here, this student has 4 categories. We got very valuable, valuable, unknown, and somewhat. And when we look there we could do this in a variety of ways, but I'm going to go ahead and assign very valuable and valuable to be our positive values, and then unknown and somewhat to be our negative values. Uh, what we have to do here, because Excel doesn't naturally create a mirror histogram, we've got to assign those negative values. Now, notice when you copy this over, when you go into their cells, you lose your formula. So like we go over here at somewhat valuable at 2, here we see that count and formula, how this was tallied. And if we come over here, we see that it's just the 2, what we got from that count and formula. So for any reason you update your original data, you will need to update this. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change all the unknowns and somewhats to negative. Notice that if there is 0 there, there is no such thing as a -0. So we just skip it. And on the graph, there's just not going to be a portion of that graph there to be depicted. And I'm just going to keep on doing this over and over until all the values are negative for unknown and somewhat. So you'll see, I just went ahead and corrected the rest of those signs off screen. And I did do that manually. Now I would double check to make sure that we didn't change any numbers. That is important. Double checking, triple checking, and quadruple checking is super important here. Notice I have the entire table highlighted there, and if I were to ask Excel to make a histogram or a bar graph based off from that, it would put a column for the total. The total is just not part of our option, so we want to make sure we don't confuse it. And it's as simple as going to insert after we have that, and then you can go to column, bar. There's a variety of ways to show this. Since the student used vertical columns, I'm going to go ahead and do the same. And here you go. This is a rough draft of our chart with the mirror effect. And that mirror effect was done by manually going in and changing our negative values to negative. Now, if I make this a little bit bigger, you'll see that on these types of graph, because Excel isn't formatted for them by default, we do want to go in and change that identifying information. It's hard to see. I want to reformat it. So we're just going to go in here real quick. We're going to go to horizontal axis because that is the axis that has our labels that are being obscured right now by our graph. We're going to go all the way down to axis. We're going to go down to horizontal axis, and you'll see right there we have our labels. All right, now it says labels are next to axis. We change that to high. Watch how that changes those labels. They are now above. But the student tend to, I want to mimic the organization that they had on the original graph. So I am going to put them below. And there, I think they look a little bit better myself. Now, one of the things that we lose here when we do this time a graph is sometimes it's a little more difficult to see the exact values that represent the distance in each of these rectangles, each of these bars. So that might be some information that you want to put on there. So you'll notice that I have the dark blue clicked on. I'm just going to go over here to format and hit data labels. And it does it in a darker color. You can change that. But see, now we've got that on there. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of the categories. I'm going to go to the orange, turn on get data labels. They're easier to see there. And I'm going to go to the light blue and turn on the data labels. And for the green as well. And there you have it. There is how to make a mirror bar graph or a mirror histogram using data that had only positive outcomes. And you'll see here, I'm going ahead and changing the title just so it will be complete and the reader of our work will know exactly what is going on. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for your time.